Well, good morning, everybody. I am so excited. My name is Dominique Scott, and I'm so glad that you guys have joined the call. It is bringing me great joy to hear those chimes chiming in. It is not too late for you to forward and text somebody, tell them to join the call. It's not too late. It's not too late. Well, as you know, this is the Rise Up and Live call. We do it every Monday through Friday from 8:45 for your morning dose of inspiration. This morning, we are going to have none other than our coach, Sharita, who's going to be taking us to the next level on this call. Sharita Leon is a two-time #1 best-selling author whose books were on the bestseller list for over 2 years straight. She is a certified Les Brown trained speaker and the protege of Les Brown. She is also my friend, a mother, a leader, a trendsetter, a sister to me, and, of course, by trade, she is a relationship and business coach as well as an entrepreneur who is making big moves in the industry as a leader in internet strategy marketing. Please join me as I introduce to some and present to others, none other than Coach Sharita Leon. Are you on the call this morning?
Yes, I am, Miss Dominique Scott. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Take us away.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that introduction, honey. I need you in my life. Good morning, everybody. I hope that you are super excited and ecstatic about this day. Why? Because this is the day the Lord has made, and we're going to do what? Rejoice in it. So, as a quick disclaimer, you may hear my daughter in the background because, again, I'm waiting for her unruly bus. But this morning, what I want to talk to you about, guys, is making a way. Making a way. So, I live in New York City, right? And where I live, we have alternate parking, which is really a headache, and so I had to constantly be moving my car from one side of the street on certain days. But you'll also know that New York City is also overcrowded, and so it's very hard to find a parking spot. So, in fact, I had to move my car in about 10 minutes. But, yesterday I found myself trying to squeeze into a parking spot. And I looked at it, and it didn't seem like I could get in. And I'm like, listen, I am not going to go try to find somewhere else. There's really nowhere else to park, and I'm not going to get a ticket. So I have to find my way and squeeze into this parking spot. And so that's exactly what I did. So I had to go out, reverse again. We had the parallel parking on the street. Go out, come back in. Every little move counted, right? And so if I moved an inch, it counted. If I moved an inch backwards, it counted. So I kept trying to maneuver the car to make sure that I could fit into this really tight squeeze spot, and it seemed almost impossible. Like, it seemed like there's no way I was going to get into this spot. But I was determined to not have to pay a ticket. I was also determined to not have to drive around and waste gas. So I knew I was going to have to make a way and be a bit skillful in my approach to get into this parking spot. Where are you going, Sharita? The point that I'm making to you guys is this. There are certain paths in life where you're going to have to find your way. You're going to have to make your way happen. You're going to have to open those doors. You're going to have to break the door down, right? Forget the door of opportunity was not presented. Create it, You have to be able to find your way. And so often we find ourselves in a place where we're just looking to go through life and hoping that something happens. Hope is not enough. There has to be hope with action, right? We have to be able to be diligent to create. Find a way, right? There's a thing that happens when you have a mindset to create your own prosperity, to create your own desire, to live out your dream. Nothing's going to be presented to you guys if you don't have the mindset to make it happen. If you think of any great inventor, any great successful person, they created their ways. In fact, most millionaires here in America were self-made. They did not come from silver spoons. What does that mean? That means they made a way. So even though the spot may be tight, it may be tight in your finances, it may be tight in your relationships, it may be tight with the timing that you had. Maybe you worked, 40, 50, 60 hours a week and still try to create a business, whatever it may be for you. But you have to make a way. See, I'm reminded of a story by the book that I live by, and it says this. There was a man who was disabled, who was crippled and couldn't walk, but he knew that there was a healer coming through. He knew that the Son of God was coming through, and he knew that if he could just get to this man, to get to this person, he could get his healing. And so he was smart enough to have, and fortunate enough to have some great friends around him Who knew that they would be those type of people to make a way? They didn't take no for an answer. They were the people that said, you know what, we love you. We don't want to see you like this anymore. So together, we're going to find a way. Together, if your help, if your healing on the other side of the town, then we'll go. If we have to carry you with us, then we'll go. And this is what got my attention, guys. These friends came together with boldness and tenacity and one accord and decided that since the Messiah was in somebody else's house, they were going to go and break down the roof of this person's house to get in there because it was full. It was full. It was already occupied. But they knew that if they could get in, they'd be able to get their healing. How many of you are willing to break through the barriers? How many are willing to go out to what seems unconventional? But not only that, guys, it also takes boldness to go out there and create a way. They went and tore the roof down of somebody else's house. How tenacious must one be to go to somebody else's house and say, listen, I don't care what I have to do, but all I know is I'm no longer going to stay in this position. I'm no longer going to stay crippled. I'm no longer going to stay bound. I'm going to find my way. And if that means breaking down somebody's house, hey, I will deal with the aftermath later. But what I do know is I am going to find my healing. I am going to make a way. And these bold, tenacious people climbed the roof of someone else's house and broken down. And guess what? Did Jesus say, why did you do that? Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? You had to pay to fix this house? He said, no. Your faith made you whole. Get up and walk. See, that's what happens. See, so many of us don't realize that if we're just bold enough to go out there and put yourself out there, somebody's waiting to see your faith and connect with you. Somebody's waiting to say, I'll invest in that blueprint. I'll invest in that market plan. I'll invest in that business plan, because they were waiting to see your tenacity, waiting to see your faith. Investors, I love business, guys. It's part of who I am. And so I love shows like Shark Tank, right? I love shows like, The Profit. And so if you watch any of those shows, the investors are trying to figure out, well, what did you put in this first? Before you come at me asking me for money, what have you done to prove that you should be here? What have you done to prove that you really want this to work? Which is another reason why I love my CEO of my franchise company, because he went and put $40 million of his own money into his company. But that's a different story, y'all. But the point that I'm making is this. Because this man was willing to make a way, because he was willing to go against all odds, he didn't care what it was going to take, he got what he needed and he wanted. Can it possibly be that the reason why you don't have what you want, you don't have what you need, is because you're waiting for the opportunities to come. You're waiting for the stars to align rather than going out there and finding a way. See, I'm from New York City, guys, and so in New York, we make things happen. Now, granted, some things may be shady with certain people, but what you can't do, you cannot knock their hustle. They are willing to do whatever it takes. This is a city where you can make dreams happen. Everybody got to hustle, right? Because they know that their destiny is tied into their willingness to go and find a way. So this morning, you listening to me, what is it that you have to do to create your way? What blocks have you been putting in your mind to make you believe that you can't? My personal mentor, Les Brown, says this. He says, people create stories of themselves and they believe it and they live it out. So in the same likeliness that you created a story about yourself that's giving you these limiting beliefs, is the same exact way that you can create a story about yourself to get you to the life that you actually want. You know what, guys? I had to create a new story about who I said I was. I had to totally change and develop into someone totally different. I was completely shy. So shy I could not look anyone in the eye. No exaggeration. I would walk into a room and would hate it if there were more than 5 people there. And I would try to run my way to the back so no one would see me. And I hated the way that I felt, or the way I felt about myself. But then I also knew that me being that person was not who God created me to be. Me being that person would not get me to the desired end result as to who God called me to be. It just wasn't. So what did I do? I had to recreate the person that I was and fashion myself to the person that God designed me to be. And so all that's making your way. The book that I led by also says this. If you meditate on the word day and night, You will make your way prosperous. See, most folks want to sit on that meditate day and night. You know, we have a whole lot of saints who just want to meditate day and night and do absolutely nothing. That is off. Right? You know, my bishop was telling me a story just last week about, you know, a woman who just loves to pray. She prayed all the time. True story. And, you know, she got a job, and she would constantly be coming to work late or coming back from her lunch break late. And then it was, what's going on? She was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was praying in my closet, and I got lost for time. Well, guess what, honey? She got fired. You can't just do one and not the other. You have to understand how to have balance. A false balance is an abomination to God. You got to be able to know what you're doing and to be mindful and use wisdom. And in that same manner, you have to be able to make a way. So what does it take to make your way? One, you have to have vision. Vision is going to keep you when everything around you seems off. See, vision is not with your physical sight. Vision is seen through your heart. Vision is seen through your spirit. Vision is tapping into the plan and call that God has for you. Because he said he knows what he has a plan for you. He knows it's to prosper you, to give you an expected end, not to harm you, right? So if that's what he's saying, that's the vision that I must have for my life. So vision will sustain me when everything that I see is contrary to what is in my heart. That vision is what will do it for me. Your vision, write it, make it plain. What happens when they see it, they will run with it. Vision takes you to where you're going, even where you are right now. Your vision will catapult you and take you there, almost like you're being transported in the spirit to go somewhere else. Vision sustains you. But then when you have a powerful vision and others can see it, they will lock arms with you. This is why it says write the vision, make it plain, be precise. You know, yesterday on Facebook, I did a video about being intentional. Right? I was speaking to some of my business partners. I tell them, listen, what are your goals for the week? They can't be so vague. They must be particular. They must be specific. They must be intentional, right? As you write it plain, make it plain. When others see it, they will run with it. Why? Because they can believe, they can see. You're painting the picture of where they're going, and people want to be a part of something big. So for those of you that are in network marketing, create a picture. Make it big. Make it plain. When others see it, they will want to lock arms with you. But also, guys, in order to make something happen, make your way, you got to be hungry. You know how my mentor Les Brown says it. You got to be hungry. You got to be hungry, honey. You got to want this thing more than anything. You got to be willing to go out there day and night. Like my other mentor, Aaron Thomas, says, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then and only then will you be successful. See, many of you guys right now are relying on the pacemaker. You're relying on the albuterol, inhaler or the albuterol nebulizer. You're holding on to the life support so you're okay. But when life support is not an option, when you can no longer breathe, when it becomes so painful to you, when you find yourself in a place where you have to win. You have to create a way. You have to get out of the norm. You have to get out of how your life currently is. You cannot be okay with the status quo. You cannot be okay with the money that you're making, having more month-end money each month. You can't be okay missing your children's opportunity. You can't be okay being tired every single night. When it gets to that point, when you are so tired, you will make a way. Money or the lack thereof will no longer be an option for you or an excuse for you. Family, friendships, hardships, they're never an option. What happens is they become your fuel. And that fuel is what determines if you win or not. That is when you're hungry. That is when you're able to make, when you go out there. You see, my bishop, I was talking about this very, he's a profound man. He was a story about the lion and the gazelle, right? The gazelle. And so the gazelle, it's pretty fast. So the lion knows that he has to be able to go outrun the gazelle. And the gazelle knows that if he doesn't outrun the lion, he's not going to make it tonight. He's not going to make it back home, right? So what the lion does is he started going to go after the pregnant gazelle. Why? Because it slowed him down. So rather than going to find the other regular, the male gazelle or the women gazelle that weren't pregnant, he went after the ones that were pregnant because it would slow him down. He became strategic as to how to go after what he wanted. And you have to do the same thing. Be strategic as to where you're going to create that way for you to find yourself where you need to be, becoming resilient, having the courage. God said to Joshua, be courageous, be bold and only courageous. bold and only courageous. Be willing to go out there in the midst of fear and still show up, in the midst of uncertainty and still show up, being focused with tenacity and resilience, knowing this, that some way, somehow, I must make a way. And my way is being presented for me if I go out there and make it happen. Today, tonight, this morning, wherever you're in the world, listen to what I am saying. Make it your business to find or create your way to make sure that you live your divine life. I am Sharita Leon. Follow me at Coach Sharita on all social platforms. Until next time, Miss Dominique, go ahead and take it away.
Wow. Amazing, amazing. I know you guys are inspired. So with that, I want you to get up, as Coach Sharita has told us this morning, inspired us this morning. Go make it happen. It's your turn. It's your time. Rise up. Go make it happen. Rise up. Go make it happen. Have a wonderful day. Be sure to follow me on all my social media pages. I am Dominique Scott. Go with God, because God will certainly go.